Please be seated. This is our 7th year celebrating the National Vietnam War Veterans Day, and next month will be 50 years since Saigon fell. We are joined by our 4 co-hosts who have been a part of our events from the get-go. Representing the American Legion side are Barnegat's Post 232's Commander, Steve Ferrule. You can clap. The Department of New Jersey's Commander, Andy Jackson. The Department of New Jersey's National Executive Committeeman, Burley Hanna Jr. And representing the VFW side are Barnegat's Post 10092's Commander, Lenny Hemmerly. Senior Vice Commander and Vietnam veteran, Bob Roshak. I'm sorry, Lenny is also a Vietnam veteran. And Junior Vice Commander, Joe Allen. The Department of New Jersey Senior Vice Commander, John Hinker, is here with us in spirit. Representing the Barnegat School District is our Superintendent, Dr. Brian Latwis. And representing Barnegat Township is our Mayor, Al Cerulli. Now that I've introduced my co-hosts, let me introduce myself to those of you who may not know me, since we have a lot more people joining us for the first time this year. My name is T. Cavagnaro. I was born with the last name of Nguyen, and my family and I came over to the United States as political refugees in 1975, escaping the fall of Saigon just hours before it fell to the Communist Party. Both my parents are still alive and are here in the audience with us today. My dad, Ki Nguyen, is sitting right over there. And my mom, Lawan Dam, is sitting right over there. And my older sister, Dr. Kam Nguyen, came up from Williamsburg, Virginia with her Army veteran husband, Dr. Rick Buchanan, to come to our event for the first time today. Like I mentioned before, this year marks the 50th year that Saigon fell, when my family and I left our country, and you welcomed us into yours. This anniversary stirs up a lot of emotions in many of us, and there are so many stories to tell, and our lineup of speakers this year will be sharing their stories in a bit. But the stories of our Vietnam veterans, your stories, are the reason why our schools and communities have come together like this. People don't realize what Vietnam veterans have gone through, not just 50, 60 years ago when you were there in Vietnam, in the thick of the war, getting sprayed by our own government with Agent Orange, a toxic chemical they swore to everyone was completely safe for humans. Or when you wanted so badly to cut off a major supply line that the communists kept on using when they had promised they wouldn't. They would stop, but our government kept your hands tied and wouldn't let you do what you were built to do and defeat our enemy. And not just during the rest of your life since then, burying your identity as a Vietnam veteran because the country wrongfully cast you as criminals and monsters because they were fed incorrect propaganda by the media, who got their information from sources they thought were trustworthy, but had their own communist agenda. People don't realize what some Vietnam veterans still go through even now. Like my dear friend and Vietnam veteran, Rick Amsterdam, whose son had such bad kidney damage his whole life that he required a transplant. The draft and answering that call of duty and helping others fight for freedom was wrong when it wasn't. Something else was to blame for Rick's son's kidney damage, but he placed the guilt on himself. Why? Because that's what he was forced to think like for his whole life after he got back from the war. So you see, he continues to knee-jerk in thinking this way. And the damage our Vietnam veterans have is not easily erased because of it, since it shaped who you are today. But don't forget, In spite of all you went through, Vietnam veterans were the ones who banded together and swore to each other and to other veterans that they would never let what happens to them happen to others. You were beaten down and deprived of support, but you got back up, and you continued to help others. So on days like today, let the community do what's right by you in the small ways that we can. Look around at everyone here. See this huge display of patriotism in the fire trucks and the flags, in the police, in the carefully restored quintessential military Jeep with the 1,000,000 candle power searchlight that was driven up here from across the state, to the bagpiper playing in the front, to the hallways covered in the decorations, and to the lines of students clapping and cheering for you as you walked by in the schools both in and outside of Barnegat who are gathered here, in your family, your friends, and members of the public and elected officials who are here for one reason: you. All of our volunteers have been prepped for this event beforehand with interactive and eye-opening presentations and are here because they want to be here, because they now understand the pain you all went through before. It's a must-have for us to incorporate as much of our youth as possible so that these events don't stop when my husband Jimmy and I are with their own Vietnam veteran relatives, bridging that gap and making that meaningful connection before it's too late. And that's why you see so many students from so many grades and towns here today, from the cadets here at Barnegat High School, to the ones bussed in from Central Regional High School, to Southern Regional High School, to even Seton Hall University, where some cadets have just returned from their staff ride to Vietnam. That's right, they went to Vietnam, where they discussed Vietnam War battle decisions while visiting the battlefields those decisions were made on, literally walking in the footsteps of many of the Vietnam veterans here. And other high schoolers involved outside of the cadets are the the choir, the marching band, our bugler. Barnegat's middle school did all the decorations, and Barnegat's intermediate school dismissed some of their students early and bussed them to come and give you that welcome home parade experience you didn't get back then as you walked down the hallways to get here now. When these students were learning about how you helped save so many people during the war, I can't emphasize enough how they literally erupted in screams and cheers, chanting USA, USA, all on their own, multiple times. And you'll see some of the scouts here in their uniforms to honor you as well. And Vincent Lorenzo, who led the Pledge of Allegiance, rejected a trip to Disney World just to attend our event back in 2022. This type of student involvement has been the catalyst in getting them to do more for our veterans, because when they get involved, they care, and when they care, they do. And a great example of this comes from Central Regional High School, who, led by their commanding officer of the cadets, William Maris, has put together an appreciation dinner for Vietnam veterans that you can sign up for right after this ceremony in front of the cafeteria doors. Before William transferred from Barnegat High School to Central Regional High School, he attended one of our interactive presentations and events, and he was determined to do something similar with his school. So he created Operation Vista for the cadet program there, with the mission to bring awareness to what happens with the Vietnam veterans, while at the same time helping our vets to see the light at the end of the tunnel from the love and support waiting for them from the students on the other side. What has been accomplished by these cadets alone is remarkable and makes us incredibly proud. Thank you so much to the teachers and to the administrators for encouraging your students to get involved in these ways and for giving me and my husband the opportunities to explain why they should. With it being the 50th anniversary year of the fall of Saigon, we have representatives from different Vietnamese communities here to show our deep gratitude and strong support for our American soldiers. After all, we're the ones you fought for and put your lives on the line for. So I'd like to take a moment to highlight who these community organizations are, so please rise and raise your hands when I say your group name so that you can be recognized. From the Association of Former Vietnamese Political Prisoners of New Jersey, we have Major Thuc Nguyen and Captain Jing Jun. From the Vietnamese American community of South New Jersey and vicinity, we have Commander Niep Jun. Representing Vietnamese American Television, Saigon Broadcasting Television Network, the Republic of Vietnam Next Generations, and the Vietnamese American community of Central Virginia is Destiny Nguyen. We also have support in spirit from the Republic of Vietnam Armed Forces Descendants, New Jersey's Mutual Vietnamese Seniors Association, the New Jersey Vietnamese American Community Association, and the Atlantic County Vietnamese Community Center. From the Vietnamese people who had to leave our country and start over the United States and benefited from your personal sacrifices and your family's personal sacrifices in watching you leave and then come back completely changed, or sometimes not coming back at all. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And if there's one thing that I hope for this year, it's that I hope we've proven to be the kinds of Americans who are worth fighting for. I'd also like to thank the VSOs who will be stationed in the cafeteria after our event during the informal reception with officers to help anyone with questions about claims, benefits, or who may even need therapy sessions on the spot, because we have a mobile vet center parked right outside the cafeteria. These VSOs include the American Legion Department of New Jersey, Barnegat Communities That Care, Community Hope for Veterans, the DAV New Jersey, DMAVA, the Ocean County Veterans Service Bureau, the Toms River VA Clinic, the Lakewood Vet Center, and the VFW Department of New Jersey. We appreciate you coming from all different parts of the state to support our event and our veterans. I'd like to acknowledge and thank the veterans groups and the groups who help and support our veterans who are either here with us today or couldn't come but are with us in spirit. These groups lift up their members and give them a place to truly be understood by their peers and devote the time in helping veterans in many different ways. Please feel free to rise, clap, and cheer for these organizations as I announce them in alphabetical order. Let's start with the American Legion. The Armed Forces Heritage Museum is here again. The Association of the United States Army couldn't wait to come back. Bridging the Gap is also back. Next, we have the Coast Guard Combat Veterans Association. We also have the Coast Guard Auxiliaries supporting us. The Daughters of the American Revolution. Then there's the Korean American Vietnam War veterans. The Marine Corps League is strong here. We've got members of the Military Order of the Purple Heart here as well. The Tri-State Chapter NAM Knights have been with us through thick and thin. The New Jersey Employer Support for the Guard and Reserve is back again this year. Then there's the Polish Legion of American Veterans. Rolling Thunder national and local chapters are back here to support us. The Sons of the American Revolution are joining us this year for the first time, if you haven't noticed, although they're hard to miss with their Revolutionary period attire. Next, we have the Veterans of Foreign Wars here. And finally, we have support from the Vietnam Veterans of America here. Some of the special organizations who are also here in support of our Vietnam veterans are the Rotary Club of Barnegat, who bought a ton of hoagies for us this year. And we also have the Rotary Club of Long Beach Island, who bought all the desserts for us this year. We have some elected and appointed officials here I'd like to thank for coming to show their support as well. Again, please rise when you're called so that you can be recognized. From the state level, we have State Senator Carmen Amato. Assemblyman Brian Rumpf. Assemblyman Greg Meyer. From New Jersey's Department of Military and Veteran Affairs, we have the Director of Veteran Services, Esther Chukaralao. From Ocean County, we have the Director of Veteran Services, Phil Zimmerman, with his Assistant Veteran Service Officers in the audience, Marion. But most of all, I'd like to thank our Vietnam veterans, because today is all about you, and you deserve our deepest gratitude and respect. With that said, can I ask all our in-country Vietnam veterans to either stand or raise their hands to be acknowledged? And if you please stay standing, I'd like all of our Vietnam-era veterans to join them in standing or raising their hands as well, too. Let's hear it for this group of heroes, everyone. Pays off during their performances. And the amount of attention to details applied by the band director, Dan McGrath, is just astounding, which is likely the reason why they keep on winning various categories in the Tournament of Bands competitions. While the rest of the color guards stay in their position, only the Barnegat High School Navy Junior ROTC color guard will now move back into position in the center of the court and will dip the flag of the branch of service whose song is being played. We also ask those of you in the audience who have served or who are currently serving to please stand and join in as your song is presented. the Barnegat High School parade rest position.
Our first speaker this year has strong convictions, and an even stronger love for Barnegat. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Barnegat's Mayor, Julie.
Good afternoon. The men and women of the United States military stand ready to be deployed and fight whenever they are given the command. This has been demonstrated since the birth of our nation until the present day. The spirit of the American soldier is characterized by courage, resilience, and unwavering commitment to duty. It reflects a deep sense of patriotism, sacrifice, and loyalty to both fellow soldiers and the ideals of freedom and democracy. The American soldier embodies a readiness to face adversity, whether on the battlefield or in peace, and a willingness to make personal sacrifices for the greater good. They have been a symbol of strength, hope, and determination in times of crisis and conflict, which makes us proud of them as a nation. Our Vietnam veterans were given the command to deploy and fight. They were sent overseas and fought with the same spirit and determination. Yet they were faced with anti-war protests. The media showed the war as brutal, futile, and focused on images of death. Military personnel were painted as baby killers and complicit with an unjust war. They came home to a disillusioned society that dishonored and abandoned them, which made resuming a normal life difficult. Many were scarred with lifelong physical, medical, and emotional difficulties. Through all of this, their spirit and determination has never faltered. They stand proud, and we honor them. Thanks to people and organizations like T and Jimmy Cavagnaro, their duty and sacrifice for our nation will never be forgotten. Let me end this with a prayer. May Almighty God give them, their families, and the United States of America peace, blessings, and protection. And I ask that in the name of Christ Jesus, amen.
Our second speaker represents all the district schools that are involved in today's event. As someone whose father was a Vietnam veteran, this event has special meaning to him. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Barnegat Superintendent Dr. Brian Gaddis.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is truly an honor to stand before you today as we gather to recognize and thank the brave men and women who served during the Vietnam War. To our veterans, your courage, sacrifice, and dedication to this nation will never be forgotten. On behalf of the Barnegat Township School District, we express our deepest gratitude for all that you have given. This event is a testament to the commitment of our schools and community in ensuring that history is not just remembered, but honored. From our students in the NJ, ROTC, choir, art programs, to those welcoming you with a well-deserved clap, today is about respect, appreciation, and learning from those who paved the way for future generations. Seeing so many schools and individuals from across New Jersey come here today speaks volumes. Barnegat, led by T, has set a powerful example of what it means to educate with heart, to not just teach history, but to live it, to embrace it, and to pay it forward. To T and Jimmy, your dedication to our veterans is nothing short of inspiring. You have created a tradition that not only honors our heroes, but brings generations together in a shared purpose of gratitude. To our veterans, thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and your strength. You are the reason that we stand here today, free and united. Thank you.
Our next speaker has deep connections not only to Barnegat and its athletics department, but also Vietnam. Recently named Coach of the Year, B-South All Division, she was born in Vietnam, but was able to come and thrive in America because of so many people, especially the one who started her journey, her dad, Sergeant Charles Hoff. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Barnegat High School's girls basketball head coach, Tammy Nicolini.
It took me a long time to share my story. Hello, my name is Tammy Nicolini, and before you know, I want to take a moment to say welcome home to all the veterans, Vietnam veterans who are here from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for your service and your sacrifice. And because one represents Purple Hearts across the galaxy, jump wings, Good Conduct Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Sharp Tooth Designation, and more. Staff Sergeant Charles Hoff has honorably served in the Marine Corps from November 1955 until May 1969. Sadly, my father passed away in May of 2017, but his legacy remains in every part of my life. I was born in Quang Nam Province, near Marble Mountain, in Vietnam, in January 1969, during the height of the Vietnam War. My birth mother was a courageous South Vietnamese woman who saved my life during a raid on our village and tragically lost her life when the raid exploded to protect me. The first orphanage my father took me to was attacked by Vietnam. My father took every measure to protect me. He then placed me in the Sacred Heart orphanage in Da Nang to keep me safe while he continued his service during his second tour duty. Determined to bring me to safety, during his third tour, my father obtained the necessary documents to take me out of Vietnam despite the dangers around him. He brought his wife back home in the United States, sharing to be a father of the child in Vietnam. My wonderful mother, Priscilla, embraced the news with open arms and told him to bring me home. I was 19 months old when my father made it possible for me to leave Vietnam. At the airport, Spencer posed a constant threat, and my father shielded me as we tried to board the plane. It's my understanding that I was one of the first Vietnamese children to come over to the United States before Operation Baby left in the fall of Saigon. And then so my life began in America. We settled in Keynote, New Jersey, after my father Charles, my mother Priscilla, and my two sisters, Abby, who was 5.5, and Ken, who was 3.5. That same year, my brother Joe was born, eventually found our forever home in Barnegat, New Jersey. I graduated from Southern Regional High School and later earned a bachelor's degree in health and physical education at Brown University. I married my high school sweetheart Jim, and together we were blessed with 3 beautiful daughters, Bianca, Michaela, and Priscilla. I'm proud to share that all 3 of them are college graduates, and I couldn't be more proud of the woman they've become. My career in education started 28 years ago, first teaching in Lawrence Township, then in Eagles Elementary School, and now at Barnegat High School. I've been the head coach at Barnegat High School since 2013. Through my experiences, I've learned that life is never without obstacles, but I've also come to understand those obstacles, as difficult as they may seem, become opportunities for growth, resilience, and transformation. I've had the privilege of helping students and players see even the hardest moments, and their chance to rise, to learn, and find strength within themselves. This perspective wasn't something I arrived on my own. It was given to me by the people who shaped my life, especially my mom and dad. My dad for his unwavering love and courage to protect me from the odds against us. And my mom, with her incredible understanding and selflessness, embraced me with open arms and a heart full of determination, and to turn those challenges into opportunities. For me, teaching and coaching isn't about lesson plans and basketball drills. It's about guiding students and players through life's ups and downs. It's about showing them obstacles don't have to define them, but instead, it will be a stepping stone to something greater. I'm thankful for my journey, for the opportunity to pass my lessons of resilience, love, and hope. It is a privilege to help others to share their potential and realize no matter what life throws at them, they have strength to rise above. I stand here today overwhelmed with gratitude, not just for my own story, but for all of yours. To all the veterans, you are heroes in every sense of the word. Your sacrifices have not only shaped history, but you have touched lives of generations, including mine. Thank you for your service, your strength, and for giving me the opportunity to share my story.
A first lieutenant in the Infantry Division of the Army of the Republic of Vietnam, he had also trained at Fort Benning, Georgia in 1969, so developed close relationships with the American GIs. After the fall of Saigon, he was captured by the Communist Party and was a POW for 5 years before he was finally released. Here to talk about his awful time as a POW in the Vietnam War is First Lieutenant Khai Len.
Thank you very much. Also on the plane to all the Vietnam vet, American Vietnam vet. On sacrifice on the thing that it is for my people. Sometimes you said that I am a Vietnamese. Yeah. But I did it, but the best I can to sell the country. But after the fall of Saigon, I feel a little bit angry. Every war is not that no something like a pre-war. There's a ugly thing inside there. So I had a chance to get out of Vietnam, but I'm with IMG. Sometimes we got to be betrayed. So we sent in a lot of Vietnam back here or to that whatever country that you saw. Sometimes you feel like that. War is a lovely thing. And then nobody lie about it. But there's so many things behind that we don't know. I graduated for Benning in 1969. And a couple of years ago, I went back and visit my school. I walked into that, they call it Memorial Garden. The first time I stepped into that, the first head officer died set foot in Vietnam 1 month. The second one was my classmate, I just walked out. I never set foot in the memorial in Washington area because I'm afraid I'm going to see some of my classmates. And I got into some new friend here. We just clicked on really well. And because of my stubborn, I am a preferred fighter. Is it concentration camp? In a soccer time, I just make it short and sweet. The first camp was like a fat cat. He helped me to lose weight real fast. I lost half my weight in about 4 months. And then the next camp, one of our friends fighters came forward, get shot on barbed wire and died. Then a year later, we moved to the next camp. And with my ears, I can see that the guy, he's not officer. He became the officer, just like become quick family. But he's left on the nurse, worker his house. So he called to the comment. Now they put him in. So after like a year, he was so upset, he's mad at this. And one day he gets so mad about it, he yelled and screamed. But the worst thing he did is talking about whole cheating. The comment that they couldn't alcohol that moved him in. And somehow only God took him outside of the camp. And the next day they talked about, they said, oh, he died because he was so sick. He's not died because he's so sick. So I moved to the third camp on that. But it used to be when the friends who come from Vietnam, they sent political prisoners up there to die. That's why we stay for 3 or years. And I come home because I try to eat love, but it's only you can. You carry something like that. I don't remember what it is. Why I told yellow, this and that. So that's what it is. And finally we get out, and then I was lucky that, not lucky, but for some reason, they moved me to another camp before they released. And I had a chance to visit my cousin. My mother is my mother was a son. So he was very, celebrate up on the hill, all that. So everything all that, I got organized to do anything. If they don't like you, and you done. There's no question asked about it. So we both had about 5 years that I wouldn't leave. And believe it or not, after that, I escaped by boat. I come to the country. Well, 24 the American service to Vietnam. We did the best we can. Anything on behalf of my people. And somebody feels sick that I was here and but I did my best. But remember, wars and everything, there are only 2 sides. So that's the thing about it. And thank you very much for giving me a chance to speak my mind and then to say thank you for all the Vietnam vets here.
Communist Party on April 30th, 1975, and had a father who was also captured as a POW by them and held prisoner for 10 years. Now living in Washington, D.C., she is a nationally recognized reporter for popular news agencies by the Vietnamese diaspora and devotes her time to being an activist for the Vietnamese American community, specifically in ensuring honor and respect is restored and given to veterans of both the Army of the Republic of Vietnam and of the United States military, who had fought together side by side against the communists during the Vietnam War. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Destiny Nguyen.
Good afternoon, everyone. I was emotional with the story of Tammy and Uncle Kai. I was born on the same day the fallen of Seton, unfortunately. I didn't know my dad until I'm 10 years old. And the tag that I wear today, the story that he just told, that my uncle got shot when he tried to escape the prison. And
Every year around this time, as a Vietnamese American, I felt sadness and yet a deep appreciation for being who I am and who we are as Americans. As I look around today, we're greeting our veterans, our guests, the lovely town people of Barnegat that I came here every year and I saw them. And of course, my dear friend T. More than ever, I feel warm. The pride, and that for sure would overcome the sadness of April. As we might already know, 50 years ago, the Vietnam War ended. South Vietnam, after years of sacrifice by the people and soldiers of the Republic of Vietnam, and by the serving men and women of the United States and other allied countries, we failed to rule the invasion of communist North Vietnam. In a typical of civil conflict, or the American Civil War, for example, when the fighting ended, peace and celebration would have happened next. A nation united at last. The healing, the national reconciliation would begin. The process of nation rebuilding would start. People would rejoice. Family would be united. Lover would create a family. But that did not happen when the Vietnam War ended. Instead, the North Vietnam communists would prosecute and execute thousands of people for revenge. As a gesture of goodwill, the communist government would send hundreds of thousands of former South Vietnamese ARVN officers to hard labor camps, the one like with the Kai and my father. These camps were more like death camps than a so-called re-education camp. The cleansing of South Vietnam didn't end with just those who were involved in the old South Vietnam government and those who worked with the US government. They would confiscate the house, the properties of all those who had a business. Freedom of speech, of worship, freedom of commerce, and trade were strictly prohibited. In general, human rights did not exist then and now. In this case, after the war ended. As a result, millions of Vietnamese people risked their life to escape. They would die in the jungle in Cambodia or at sea. T's family is one of them. The story of hunger, breath, despair, and death became part of Vietnamese diaspora. Hundreds of thousands of more South Vietnam whose fathers and mothers were in prison for years as a political prisoner. They would rather trade everything they had owned to live under humanitarian operation program. My family is one of them. As a Vietnamese American stand in front of you today, we are proud people with rich culture and heritage. We are free people. We do not accept communism. We do not want to live in an oppressed society ruled by a single communist party. Dear friends and guests, we are here today not just mourn our loss, the great loss of prosperous in free nation of South Vietnam, but we are here today to celebrate you. The Vietnamese veteran who made sacrifice to fight for us, to protect us during the war, and your enduring journey to rebuild your lives when you return home. Welcome home. We are here today to express appreciation to American people who ideal of liberty and pursuit of happiness. has supported us during the war and to embrace us as American after the war ended. Lastly, we are here to celebrate our Vietnamese American, our fathers, our old soldiers of the great Republic of Vietnam who sacrificed so much for us. We want to show our love to our moms who endured wartime suffering and years of struggle after the war to taking care of us. We want to tell our children, the next generation of the Vietnamese American, to cherish and embrace the proud of rich history of their ancestors. The rich history through war and struggle with strength and determination. It will empower them to be a great American in this beautiful United States of America. And this is why I'm here today, we're here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Destiny. The USS Kirk played a pivotal role in an unplanned rescue of hundreds of Vietnamese refugees when Saigon fell to the communists by allowing fleeing Vietnamese helicopters to land on her deck when they were running out of fuel and in danger of crashing into the sea and drowning all on board, including all the women and children. The Kirk only had room for one helicopter to land, but made room for 16 helicopters by pushing each one overboard for the next one to land, forming the greatest humanitarian mission in the history of the US Navy, if not the entire US military. The chief engineer on the USS Kirk had already completed a tour in country as a psychological operations advisor and as a staff member of NAVFOR, the US Navy command that was established in Saigon in 1966. He was not expecting to have the experience he had that day on the Kirk, but it affected him profoundly. That ship and her crew then helped to safely escort a fleet of ships from the South Vietnamese Navy, all packed with people escaping the country, from the Saigon area to Subic Bay in the Philippines. One of those South Vietnamese naval ships slowed everyone down because she was only running on half power and had 10 times the amount of people she was rated for. But the USS Kirk and the rest of the US Navy ensured no harm came to that ship, nor anyone else, during their travels to freedom. That ship was the same ship my family and I escaped on, the Chilang II. So you can just imagine how special meeting someone from that ship, the USS Kirk, is for me. Ladies and gentlemen, coming all the way from his home in Rhode Island, just to be here with all of us today, is our keynote speaker, Commander Hugh Doyle.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, T, for that kind introduction. And thank you all for allowing me to speak with you today. Listening to the speakers who have preceded me, though, is a humbling thing for me. They lived through so much compared to my own modest contributions. I am so impressed to see all you young ROTC students. I'm a fellow ROTC graduate, and I'm proud of your commitment to serve our great country. I'm a U.S. Navy destroyer man, a tin can sailor. The largest single class of ship in the United States Navy today is the Arleigh Burke class of guided missile destroyers. Tin cans, powerful tin cans with top-notch crews. So you ROTC students, we can use you. Go Navy. This is a huge assembly, and sometimes easy to get lost in a crowd. I'm not going to ask you all to stand or raise your hand again, but we've already done that. But we're here to honor you. We're here to honor the Vietnam veterans, my fellow Vietnam veterans. And what I have to say to you today is going to be sort of a personal conversation with you. We Vietnam veterans served in that country for 11 years, from 1964 to 1975. We all know those grim statistics. During all those years, over 2.7 million of us served and did our time there. And more than 58,000 of us never came home. Over 300,000 of our fellow Vietnam veterans were wounded, either physically, mentally, or emotionally. And so many of our brothers existed for years in the squalor and brutality of POW camps or are now forever missing. The Department of Defense officially lists 687 prisoners of war as returned to the United States alive. But more than 1,600 are still there in Vietnam, to this day officially listed as missing in action. Those of us who served in Vietnam, whether volunteers or draftees, came from all over this country, and we served in all our armed services. And we were not all men, of course. A great many U.S. Navy, U.S. Air Force, and U.S. Army nurses, and contingents of operational Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps served alongside their brothers. My first tour in Vietnam was in 1968 and 1969, aboard a 12,000-ton amphibious ship. USS Montrose was an attack transport, a relic of World War II. I was her gunnery officer, and we were a workhorse. We transported the 5,000-man Royal Thai Army Volunteer Force from Bangkok to Saigon on 3 lifts. We were transiting the mangrove swamps of the Mekong Delta and the twists and turns of the Saigon River. We hauled material into Cam Ranh Bay, and we extracted war-damaged gear from Da Nang. Throughout that long shipboard tour, it was long, hard, unglamorous work. And I never had the personal contact with a single Vietnamese person. But that changed when I returned to Vietnam in 1972, this time in Greens with boots on the ground. I was a psychological operations advisor of PSYOPs in the 2nd Coastal Zone in the Trang and Cam Ranh Bay. During that time as an advisor, I was fortunate to have a great deal of close contact with many fine Vietnamese Navy men and their families. In January 1973, shortly after I returned home to my own family, the Paris Peace Accords were signed, supposedly ending that long war. I thought Vietnam would just be a distant memory in my mind. We now know that it was a pipe dream. Just 2 years later, in the spring of 1975, the North Vietnamese juggernaut pounded its way south, resulting in the capitulation of the Republic of Vietnam. And that brought me to my third, very brief, but very intense encounter with the Vietnam War. I was the chief engineer in USS Kirk, one of 50 U.S. Navy ships that took part in the chaotic evacuation of Vietnam. Many of you here today are familiar with that episode, the subject of the U.S. Navy documentary, The Lucky Few. During that hectic operation, called Operation Frequent Wind, and the follow-on voyage to the Philippines, called Operation New Life, we rescued over 33,000 Vietnamese refugees aboard 32 ships of the former Vietnamese Navy. All told, nearly 150,000 refugees escaped from Vietnam during those few momentous days in April and May of '75. But in the 20 years that followed, a great many more escaped the now communist People's Republic of Vietnam. They were called boat people. Our USS crew was very young. There were 275 men on board, and the average age was just 20.2 years old. The captain of the ship was 38 years old. His executive officer, 35. I had recently turned 30, and I was the oldest of the 4 department heads on the ship. The oldest man on the ship was our chief yeoman. He was 42 years old, and everybody called him Pappy, behind his back, of course. So we were a crew of predominantly teenagers, just a year or two older than many of the young people who are here today. And those rough, tough young sailors rose to a new, very profound challenge. We witnessed and were part of an incredibly huge humanitarian operation, interacting personally and immediately with so many terrified, traumatized Vietnamese refugees. Our young crewmen learned an invaluable lesson in what is most important in life. We were able to care for and save the lives of tens of thousands of refugees. These boys became men in just a few days. Today, more than 2.5 million of our fellow American citizens are descendants of the original Vietnamese refugees a half-century ago. Many of our Vietnamese American fellow citizens are here today. I think I speak for my fellow Vietnam veterans when I say to you all that we are extraordinarily proud to be here with you. You are a credit to our great country, the United States of America, and to your ancestral Vietnamese heritage. Now I would like to speak directly to you Vietnam vets. We all had different experiences, no matter how or where we served, whether at sea on a destroyer gun line, on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier, humping an M60 through Central Highlands, or slogging on patrol through the deep jungle, or navigating the brown water of the Delta canals, or baking on a hot tarmac on an airfield, or sweating in the steamy scullery of a mess hall. We all were a vital part of the complex jigsaw puzzle of the Vietnam War. Many of us had less than positive experiences when we returned to the States. Certainly not the welcome home of our fathers in World War II. But many of our brothers and sisters never made it home to experience even that troubled homecoming. Their names are forever etched on that stark black granite wall at our nation's capital. We honor them always and pray that they rest in peace. And some of us who did come home had a difficult time returning to civilian life. It was a war that lasted far too long, and it wasn't until many years later that we finally began to hear "Welcome home" and "Thank you for your service." It was a long time coming. But today I don't want to dwell on the negative. Why are we all here? What brings us back to this celebration on the beautiful Jersey Shore year after year? I think we know instinctively that our war experiences somehow, in some way, changed our lives. After all these years, we are damn proud of our service back then, and we want to share that pride and those experiences with our families, our friends, and our fellow citizens. How did our Vietnam experience affect your years since? Whether we stayed in the military like some of us, or hightailed it straight home like most of us, our lives after Vietnam were forever changed. Most of us, still young men and women, came home and just got on with our lives. Many of us got married and raised a bunch of kids. Some of us went back to school, but most of us went right to work. We had to catch up on life, and we now had little mouths to feed. In many cases, we parlayed our military training into a civilian career. How did we do it? We were just kids, right? Yes, but we were kids who had grown into adults real quick. And we learned a lot about life during our tours in Vietnam. We learned what teamwork was all about. We learned to be resourceful and to make do when we had to get the job done. We learned how to work shoulder to shoulder with others, even guys we had nothing in common with. We learned to be assertive, to speak up for what we knew was right. And most importantly, we learned how to learn from our mistakes. But where are we now? Our time in Vietnam was more than a half century ago. Think about that for a minute. I am 80 years old now, and I'm feeling every day of those 80 years. We have all been through a lot in our lives, and each of our lives has been one of a kind. Our one common denominator has been our experience in that hot, humid, dangerous, far-off country. That's why we gravitate together on occasions such as this. And now I'm going to leave you, Vietnam veterans, with a challenge. But first, some background. My dad was a U.S. Army veteran of both World War II and Korea. Throughout my youth and into my teenage years, I would often tune out my father's occasional war stories about his time in the Army. As a kid, I just wasn't interested. But my dad died young, and I had been away from home in the Navy for many of his final years. I profoundly regret not being able to speak with him as an adult to find out what made him tick as a young man. I wish he had made me listen. Much of who he was, I now understand, was a product of his growing up in the United States Army. And I know that is the same for me. In many ways, the Navy, including Vietnam, made me who I am today. Please don't make the mistake that I made with my dad. This is my challenge to you. Tell these young people what it was like for you to fight in that war. My fellow Vietnam veterans, when you get home, sit quietly with a cup of coffee or your favorite adult beverage. Think back on those episodes from long ago that helped define your tour in Vietnam. What did you learn back then that made you who you are today? How did your time in Vietnam affect the way you lived your life and raised your family? Then take charge. Don't wait for your kids to ask. Gather your family around you and ask them to listen to you. Life is too short. Talk to your family. Tell them your story. They need to know. And now I'm speaking to your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren even. And I'm speaking to all you ROTC students also. I said at the beginning of this talk that 2.7 million of us old goats, your fathers and grandfathers, served in Vietnam over 50 years ago. But today, fewer than a third of us are still alive. Let that sink in. So you young people, please listen to our stories. Find out what our tour in Vietnam really meant to us. You will hear some truly amazing things from us. You will learn about life. Thank you again for your hospitality and your friendship today. I am honored to have been asked to speak with you, and I am proud to be your brother. Welcome home.
Thank you, Commander. We have a quick announcement from New Jersey's Department of Military and Veterans Affairs from the Director of Veterans Services, Esther Chukabalau.
Good afternoon. Mr. Doyle, if you could join me, please. Yes. All right, so I'm here representing the, I know you didn't want this. We knew you didn't want this, so this is why we kept this very, very quiet, so you wouldn't say no. That is the main reason why. So I am here representing the Governor of New Jersey, Philip D. Murphy, and our Adjutant General Mays. And we would like to present you with a proclamation for your service, serving at the USS Kirk, 2 tours as an engineer, and all the sacrifice you and the crew did while you guys were serving in the USS Kirk to save all those human beings and help them bring them back to a safe environment. It was definitely a team effort. Like you say, go Navy.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm a Navy girl. So, on behalf of the Governor of New Jersey, we would love to present you this. And say thank you for all your service and for what you have continued to do in the community, even after you have retired.
Maureen Hickman Caparasso. Her father, Captain Vincent Joseph Hickman of the United States Air Force, was shot down and killed on January 14, 1964, over South Vietnam. Due to enemy forces controlling the area, troops were unable to get to the crash site until 5 days later, and unfortunately, were not able to find any evidence of survivors, graveyards, or remains of any kind. It's been over 60 years since this happened, and to this day, his remains have still not been recovered. Maureen has never stopped in her search for her father and even went to Vietnam herself last year in the hopes of being able to find something. She didn't. She's been working with multiple agencies and organizations in this quest and will not give up until she and her family get the answers they've been desperately waiting for. This flag folding ceremony will take place after TAPS is played by high school senior Bradley Deloya, who is a 4-year member of the Barnegat High School Marching Bengals and the brass section leader for it this season. Besides being in the Marching Bengals, he's also in the concert band, symphonic band, jazz band, and pit orchestra. He was a 2-year member of the All Shore Symphonic Honors Band, and he plans to continue playing music in the future, for it runs in his veins. And before TAPS is played, we'll have our closing prayer. I'd now like to invite Pastor Glenn back to the microphone. Please rise while he gives the benediction.
Let's pray together. Dear Lord, we have been very blessed to be here together today. And I pray that the words, the music, the ceremony, all that we have experienced here, I pray that will continue to inspire and motivate us to live in such a way that will be that positive influence to others as we witnessed here today. And I pray specifically for your blessing for the organizers, the participants, and especially every Vietnam veteran who is here in attendance today. I pray that they may know that we appreciate their service, not just on this special day, at this special time, but every day. And now may the Lord bless you and protect you. May the Lord smile on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord show you his favor and give you his peace. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Doug. Please remain standing while Bradley joins us in the center of the court, and we will all bow our heads for a moment of silence for those who have fallen or are no longer with us. This will be followed by the playing of taps, with the flag folding ceremony occurring after everyone sits back down. Thank you, Bradley. Please be seated. To the entrance of the gym, where New Jersey's Honor Guard will be arriving for the memorial flag folding ceremony. select choir back on the court to lead us in singing God Bless America, I'd like all the color guards to move back into position in the center of the court to present colors during this song. Everyone, please rise. Please allow the colors to be retired before sitting back down. Before we conclude our event, and I know, I'm so sorry, we have gone way overboard, but there was so much that was really important to hear from all of our speakers today. I want to make a few quick announcements. First of all, please make sure you join us in the cafeteria down the hall for commemorative lapel pins for all our Vietnam veterans. That will be, for the first time this year, humbly presented to you by our Vietnamese military officers, by Major Thuc Nguyen, Captain Jing Jun, and Commander Nam Jun. Please allow them some time to get into their positions for this to start, so we appreciate your patience with that. In addition, we have free food. Pizza, hoagies, subs, sandwiches, soft pretzels, cookies, brownies, donuts, and if that's not healthy enough, we also have several cases of fresh apples donated to us as well, and coffee and water, courtesy of Vinny's Pizza
the Rotary Club of Barnegat, NutriServe, Jersey Mike's, the Rotary Club of LBI, and Wawa. And because we will be gathering for food and they are not to be forgotten, please take note of the POW MIA table the cadets have set up inside the cafeteria so that those still missing can join us in spirit today. A sign explaining the symbolism of each item is on the table for you to read and learn about. And as mentioned before, Central Regional High School is also looking for Vietnam veterans to treat to an appreciation dinner they're hosting in just a few weeks. Please stop by their table right outside the entrance of the cafeteria so they can get your RSVP and all of your information. And don't forget about all the veteran service organizations I mentioned earlier who will have resource tables inside and outside the cafeteria along with a mobile vet center parked right outside the cafeteria. And finally, we have a large display of miniature models of ships, including the Kirk, armor and aircraft that were used in country that were built by a Coast Guard veteran and current tour guide of the battleship New Jersey, Frank Williams. Thank you all so much for making this event a truly heartwarming and remarkable one that helps the healing for so many of you every year. I hope our Vietnam veterans here today can feel the love from this community today and every day. Welcome home. I hope it was worth the trip for you. I hope it was worth the trip for you.
Oh, it was. It
Good.
was.
Good.
That blew me away.
I know.
Yes.